the most exciting times in anime's history, the mid to late 80s, an era that many have dubbed the golden age of anime. This title is more than just a rose-hued tinting of the past, however. There were very specific factors that made anime of this era special. Japan of the 1980s was for the first time since World War II starting to see a major economic upturn. This brought the Tokyo Stock Market Index to an all-time high and surged Japan's economy to heights it had never seen, which meant that a comfortable middle-class lifestyle was now available to anyone willing to don a shirt and tie and embrace the life of a salaryman. This excess in disposable income meant that there was now a massive influx of money to both consume and create film and animation, with anime feature films in particular seeing an unprecedented growth. In the 1970s, 49 animated feature films were produced in Japan, but in the 1980s, that number more than quadrupled to 220. The golden age of anime was more than just a fiscal boom, however. At this point, anime had been a commodified industry in Japan for more than 2 decades, which meant that by the mid-80s, there were professional animators in Japan who had been honing their skills for nearly 30 years, while the generation that had grown up with the works of these masters were now just entering the animation industry for the first time. And together, the two groups were beginning to realize the potential these skills could unleash. Just as critically though, the anime industry was still relatively new. This was a time before anime had really become anime. Before otaku culture had really galvanized and fans started looking to anime for hyper-specific things, and before studios started to pander to them. And so what you had was a flourishing industry awash with cash, filled with skilled and passionate animators who were for the first time realizing the full potential of animation and who weren't trying to adhere to an abstract concept of what anime should be. And the results were projects that were aimed at no one and therefore could be appreciated by everyone. Beautiful expressions of mood and tone like Angel's Egg, thoughtful and harrowing depictions of the chaos brought about by war like Grave of the Fireflies, joyous flights of imagination like My Neighbor Totoro, or insanely polished OVAs like Gunbuster. Anime from this period is often seen as hyper-violent and grotesquely sexualized, and while it certainly is in a lot of cases, to me, this adult content was also a sign that Japan's animators were realizing that animation didn't need to adhere to any one audience, that it could depict literally anything, and this was them slamming up against the boundaries of those preconceptions. And so the 80s became awash with anime that was experimental and adult and gorgeous, and the precipice of this came in 1988 in the form of Akira.